So we have about 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. 80% of those thoughts are negative, and about 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that you thought the day before. So the bottom line here is don't believe your thoughts, and thoughts are not facts. Hi, I'm Ashton, and I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and I'd like to talk to you today about cognitive behavioral therapy. And the premise behind CBT is that it's not external events that create how we're feeling. It's how we're thinking about the external events that create how we're feeling. So, for example, if you're feeling sad or depressed, those feelings stem from thoughts of loss or rejection. So maybe you texted a person that you're interested in and they didn't text back. So you're feeling rejected. We often feel sad about that. Feelings of frustration are usually connected to unfulfilled expectations. So for example, my 6-year-old, I see this a lot with my 6-year-old getting frustrated because she thinks that she should be able to do something like, let's say, put a puzzle together or cut an apple. And she's frustrated because she thinks she should be able to do it, and she's not doing it, or she can't do it. Let's see, feelings of anxiety or fear come from, anxiety or panic come from fear. So take public speaking, for example, which, by the way, public speaking is the #1 fear that humans have, because we're afraid to be judged, to stand up there in front of a room full of people and have people judge us. And another example could be anger. And so anger is when you have a strong attachment to right or wrong, and you feel somehow you've been unjustly treated. You could think of that in like riots or even war. War is fueled by anger. There's a sense of unjustness there. So CBT basically says that if you change the way that you think, you will therefore feel differently and behave differently too. So I'm going to go through 5 cognitive distortions that we all do. Some of us do some more than others. And in my next video, which I will link, well, I guess I can't link it if I haven't done it yet. I'm going to go through 5 more cognitive distortions. So with all or none thinking, we tend to think in terms of black or white, all or none. I like to say that people that have the all or none thinking or black or white really struggle with getting in the gray zone, or that would be black or white would be number 1 and number 10. That would be all or none, number 1 or number 10. And so really to get familiar with numbers like 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfectionists tend to have black or white thinking. It's like if something falls short of perfection, then it's all ruined. And we know that highly sensitive people tend to be perfectionists. So we can struggle with this one. An example could be, let's say you're trying to eat healthy and you go out to dinner and you maybe have pizza and ice cream. And then you say, well, oh, well, my new way of eating healthy is totally ruined just because you had one meal that wasn't particularly healthy. So that's black or white thinking, or all or none thinking. The next one I want to talk about is called overgeneralization. Though that you can spot that one when you use or you hear someone use the words always and never. So what we do in overgeneralization is we can take one particular event and we turn it into a series of negative patterns. So for example, let's say I interview for a job and I don't get the job. Then so if I were overgeneralizing, I would take that one event of not getting the job and I would overgeneralize it to my entire career history. And I would say, yep, I never get the job. Or let's say you are wanting to be invited to a party, and it's like this one party that you don't get invited to, and you would overgeneralize that and say, see, no one ever invites me to the party. These are examples of how we distort our thinking, and it's not even true. Remember, 80% of our thoughts are negative, and if your thoughts are negative, chances are it's a cognitive distortion. It's a distorted thought. So the next one I want to go over is the mental filter. And that is when we take like one piece of something that's going on and we focus on that and we discount all the rest. So a great example, since I'm making a YouTube video, could be, let's say I have 100 comments in the comment section and 99 of those comments are positive and I get one negative comment. Then that would be an example, and I just focus on that one negative comment. That would be an example of mental filter. So speaking of comments, I'd love to hear comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you think about CBT and where you can see yourself in any of these cognitive distortions. So the first two are black or white thinking, overgeneralization, mental filter. The fourth one I want to talk to you about today is discounting the positive. Sometimes I gotta look at my notes. Discounting the positive. And that's when we actually do have something positive happen. Like, let's say I did get that job, referring back to the same example. I might say, well, I just got lucky. Excuse me, instead of like really owning, like, yeah, I worked hard for that. And I really interviewed well. You would just discount yourself and say, yeah, well, I must have been a lucky day or something. And so we have the black or white thinking, we have the overgeneralization, we have the mental filter, we have discounting the positive. And the last one I want to go over today is jumping to conclusions. And another way you could think about that is making assumptions. And I love the book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And it was actually one of his 4 agreements: don't make assumptions. That one basically is when we assume or we jump to a conclusion that we know what somebody else is thinking. Like, go back to the party one. I didn't get invited to the party because I didn't say hi to them the other day at the grocery store. Right? Like, you have absolutely no idea what anybody else is thinking unless you actually ask them. And we do that a lot. Mind reading, making assumptions. We think we know what's going on with another person, and we don't. We really don't. Even if it's somebody that you know closely. Actually, if it is somebody that you're close with, we have more of an opportunity, or we often will make assumptions more with people that we're close with because they can be our biggest triggers. So how does this all apply to HSPs or highly sensitive people? Well, because we have the first D in DOES, Elaine Aron's DOES, the depth of processing, we tend to think and overthink and think. So when I said in the beginning of the video, 60 to 80,000 thoughts, we're definitely more on the 80,000 to even higher. So when you have that many thoughts and 80% of them are negative, whew. And remember, when you understand your sensitivity, you too can claim it as your greatest asset.